GM, folks. What's happening? What's happening? अच्छा आज थोड़ा look अलग है. Let me put this down. And थोड़ा आज mood में आते हैं. क्या हो रहा है? क्या हो रहा है? क्या हो रहा है? I already see some comments. Hey Atram Shatram. That's a cool name. Hey Atram. Hey Sid. Hey Ayushman. Hey Kartika. आयुष्मान को तो मैंने खुद डीएम किया, ठीक है कि भाई कहाँ है. I'm like भाई थोड़े लोग तो चाहिए स्टार्टिंग में मोटिवेशन के लिए, राइट. एंड there's again, as I said, there's no never a shame लोगों से हेल्प मांगने में. Always if you need help just ask them. क्या हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है फैम. बाय द वे, जस्ट फॉर एवरीवन नो, सेकंड स्क्रीन यहाँ पे है तो मैं वहाँ देखता रहता हूँ, बट आई स्टिल टॉक टू यू. मैं थोड़ा सेटअप सीन और सही कर लूँ. पता नहीं क्यों इतना जूम हो गया यार. आई मीन आई नो यू फोक्स लाइक मी, पर इतना जूम इज नॉट गुड. लेट्स गो बैक. थोड़ा सा पीछे चलते हैं. वी कांट गो बैक इन टाइम, बट वी कैन डेफिनेटली गो बैक इन फोकस. यू गेट द पॉइंट, यू गेट द पॉइंट. तो देखो आज का यार टॉपिक बहुत सिंपल है. Hey, Punit sir, you won't believe. Today, I saw a LinkedIn post, okay, where someone was thanking you to give feedback on her website or portfolio or something. And I was like, yaar, how the fuck can I forget Punit sir? Like, how can I not get this guy on my stream? I know right now not a very good time for you to just ask and join the stream though. So last topic be different. But if you are up, I'm gonna DM you on Twitter and let's set up a stream. I mean, how can you, I'm so dumb, how can I not think of this, right? By the way, thank you for the setup though. Changed a little bit. Now I do stream sitting, which is very unhealthy, but healthy चीजें करके जिंदगी में हुआ क्या है, right? What the where the hell is the camera setup scene? By the way, just keep dropping highs, ठीक है. आज बहुत फन करने वाले हैं. अगेन आज की स्ट्रीम इज मोर फन बिकॉज आई बिन एक्सप्लोरिंग दिस स्पेक्ट्रम और दिस थिंग फॉर द लास्ट वीक, ठीक है. पूरे एक वीक से मैं इस पर लगा हुआ, दिमाग खराब हो गया. आई मीन अभी इस वीक से लगा हुआ, बट इस मैनी ऑफ यू माइट ऑलरेडी नो अबाउट चंबल, ठीक है, विच इज दिस दिस इज चंबल. और ये मैंने चालू किया था 6 महीने पहले, आई थिंक 4-5 महीने पहले चालू किया था. और देन आई हैड टू स्टॉप बिकॉज आई कुडंट फिगर आउट समथिंग. एंड बस अभी फ्रेश माइंड से आई वेंट बैक इनटू द होल सिस्टम और वापस फिर चालू किया है. एंड दिस टाइम we have figured the shit out. Woohoo. Yeah, zoom in, you see me now, you see me full, you see me with this good merch of Friends of Design. Only the OGs will know about this. And talking about Friends of Design, we have a co-founder in the comments. Hello Pratyush sir, what's happening? By the way, Pratyush is in Georgia right now. I don't know where that is. That is not America wala Georgia, by the way. Don't be dumb like me, which expected that. But he's having so much fun. और मैं थोड़ा दुखी हूँ. वो सुना होगा ना तुमने, जब तुम पास हो जाओ तो इतना दुख नहीं होता है, बट जब दोस्त पास हो जाओ ज़्यादा दुख होता है. वैसा सीन है कि जब तुम घूमने गए हो तो ज़्यादा दुख नहीं हो रहा है, बट अकेला दोस्त घूमने गया तो बहुत दुख हो रहा है. बट अभी आते हैं, विल स्टार्ट. Guys say but a lot. I mean, wrong context में but again see बहुत बटवा बोलता हूँ मैं, बोलते मार पड़ेगी एकदम. ठीक है. So it's 10:06. We'll meet for 3-4 minutes more. Add your comments, add anything you have. आज फन करने वाले हैं. I don't know how many of you are interested, like really interested in Devanagari fonts or even like creating typefaces, right? वो बहुत important है. I'm gonna talk about Devnagari क्योंकि वो मुझे आता है. Like I know Gujarati also, but उसमें बनाया नहीं है मैंने. But this will give you an idea of even how to build an English font or like a Latin font. So this will give you an idea if you want to build a font in any language, by the way, Kannada, Telugu, Bangla, any language you want to build. This will give you basic fundamental. ठीक है. उसके बाद तुम्हें जो बनाना है बनाओ. If you can draw it, you can make a font out of it and you can use it in your real designs. Like तुम सोच रहे हो कितनी पावर मिल जा रही है, राइट? लाइक आई एम लाइक देख रहा नियॉन साइन मैं खुद बना रहा हूँ. आई डोंट हैव टू रिलाई ऑन समवन एल्स फॉन्ट to like typeface to get my own personal neon sign. I can just do that by myself, right? Crazy. We're gonna jump, so let's jump into the whole system. And सिस्टम पे सिस्टम चला रहा. एक तो यार बिग बॉस तुम देखना ना चाहो तो भी तुम्हें बिग बॉस दिखा दे रहे हैं लोग रील्स पे. ठीक है. और ऊपर से राव साहब के लड़के तो लगे हुए अंदर. क्रेजी 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 यो. या हियर वी आर. आई एम गोना स्टार्ट शेयरिंग. लाइट देखो कितनी गंदी हो गई. सी बिकॉज let me do one thing. Let me show you some good setup magic. Hey Google, turn on light number 3. Yeah, see, smart. I mean, the whole look is not that amazing now. The purpleness is gone, but that was gone a long time back, my friends. Now we're gonna start sharing my own screen, and we'll start doing learning some shit together. And boom. Oh, wrong one. Boom. Yeah, this one nice. See, कभी कभी जादू काम नहीं करता है, but कभी कभी कर जाता है. As जाकिर खान said कि जादू ऊपर से आ रहा है, तो बस बता रहे हैं. प्रत्युष सर बिग बॉस में कौन जीतेगा यार वो पता नहीं, बट डिजाइन में भी लाइक नॉट अ वेरी गुड थिंग हैपेंड इन रीसेंट टाइम्स. एक तो ट्विटर पे ना यार, ट्विटर पे डिजाइन ट्विटर इज जस्ट मेस्ड अप. छोड़ो उसको. हे जोशुआ, व्हाट्स इज गोइंग ऑन? लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. But I'm getting bored of this wallpaper though. I gotta change it to someone. What's your webcam? Puneet sir, I'm not gonna flex, but I have a kit on my bento. If you could just go there, you can get the link. Though it's Logitech C920. It's a very simple one, not a very, like 720p. Right now, this should be in. By the way, I was planning to do this in 60 FPS like I do in every single frame, but I'm also streaming on LinkedIn. So I'm not sure how many people are watching this from LinkedIn. If you are, you know what, let me check that. That's a let me check on LinkedIn if someone is watching from there. By the way, if someone is watching from LinkedIn, just drop a hi. No, I just want to check if there's someone watching from LinkedIn though. I've never done stream on LinkedIn, so I don't know how the shit works. I'm just gonna do it. Just going to raw dog it. Like, we're gonna figure it out while we're gonna fuck around and figure out. Okay? Cool. Producer, I hope you got your answer. By the way, I'm like for the next stream, I'm gonna use my DSLR, which is just in this cloth because I didn't buy a cover. I know, cheap ass. It's pada hua hai yahan pe. I'm not using it. So next stream se you're gonna get some good fucking sexy focus wala ekdam like good shit. Yeah. I know you don't like क्या ही करेंगे इतना देख के तुमको, but like, be with me. Cool. We are in the Figma file, and I never thought I'll have a fonts folder first of all, like where I'll have my own fonts, and second, I never thought I'll have more than 2 fonts. And so many of you know, I'm just gonna give some context to people who are gonna watch the stream afterwards who don't know कि क्या है क्या नहीं है, because I'm uploading this on YouTube also. Hey Meet, what's going on? It's Samson Q2U. I think I should just do a random Q&A on Twitter and just make a YouTube episode out of it, right? Yeah. Nahi pune se pada. I mean, I'm not utilizing it because I'm not doing videos like you every week. So that's I gotta pick up from you. But yeah, let's get into this. So people already know about Chambal. Chambal is a font which I started in March. This doesn't have the whole history. Here's my rough Figma file. By the way, you see how I manage my Figma files. Like I have thumbnails, okay? I have standards. I keep it classy. So we have thumbnails, which just tells me where we are. But my dumb self didn't make new thumbnails, so I'm just using old ones. But here's the whole exploration of the fonts, right? So here's where the whole story started. I'm not gonna go into the Twitter thread and show you where did the whole thing started, but I got this image. So I was in my village in Bhind, Chambal, right, where's the main area is, and I saw this image somewhere. I don't know if I have the image, but I was just taking pictures of all the typography I was getting or watching around the whole village, right? And there I found something like this, and mix of things. But I found one medical store where it was written store like this in this font. So at that time I had time. I just went to an illustrator, उठाया मैंने उसको recreate किया Illustrator पे and just उस पर draw on कर दिया. It's a very simple tracing techniques, right? उतना कुछ unique था नहीं. But when I did that, I was like, क्या मैं इससे can I make a font out of it, or can I even make a word out of it? Because I like this expanded Devnagari font. I will just go right now Hindi because अभी ये Devnagari पे level पे पहुंचा नहीं है. But abhi, can I make a expanded Hindi font out of it? Or let's say can I just write my name? Right. So I went into the whole rabbit hole of understanding how Devnagari fonts and all that shit works, which I will also show you so you have idea of how the thing works. Whether I'm on my Twitter, I'm gonna go to Google, Devnagari. So I was just searching for conjunction. Like this is a different thing. I'll go into this fonts. By the way, you should never open your Google search like this on live stream because you never know what you search. But hopefully, I'm safe right now. Yeah. So just going through this, and this was the only article you can find, which was from Glyph. Now, what is Glyph? We'll get into it. Believe me, after the stream, you would just need to download the software, and you will be able to make a typeface out of it. Like that's how much like knowledge I want to give you, so that way लफड़ा हो ही नहीं बाद में भाई. I want more people to create typefaces more than that regional typefaces like you do in your languages, right? So just going through this thing, there's this screenshot which I got from Type Together where Pooja Saxena or Sinha, there's some typeface designer who has written amazing blogs about Devnagari typefaces, right? How to typegraph and everything. And these are from some of the Pooja Saxena, yeah. These are some from the books and everything, like screenshot and everything. So I was just going through these. I figured out that, okay, that if you want to, the difference between designing a Latin typeface and a Devnagari typeface was that when you are designing a Latin typeface, you just need to do this. Hey, this is AVC, correct? Simple Latin typeface. But if I go and okay, I got. Let me just close few things. Sorry, quit. 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 Let me check how much. Okay, there's Safari on it, which I'm gonna close. You would think after 6 streams, I already know to hide my browsers, but nah, I don't learn. But we're gonna search for G and just get forwards. And this is there. Obviously, you can't read this because this internet doesn't have that. But we have amazing font called Khand, which sounds something like wrong, but that is not it, my fam. That is not what it is. So this is how the Devnagari font looks. It's like a Latin font look, right? Like typeface looks. And I was like, yeah, nice. I can do both of them now. Interesting. The tough kya hai? I can make this. This is easy. There's already websites available which you can just go and make your own font. You go there. This is the website. You download a form, upload or vector on there. In this form you do, and it makes your font like very simple, very easy, right? Nothing complicated and all that. But but the pain was, how do I do this with Devnagari, right? I was like, you know what? Let's Google it. But before I Google it and get into the whole guidelines and every like tool thing, I don't understand what I would need to create this into a Figma file. So being a designer, being a tool enthusiast, I'm like, let's make this into Figma first, and then I'll figure out how to do the tool thing. Easy, right? Like you just go into one direction. You know this, right? If I go, so this method which I use is that if you go and just start getting into something new, which is कि यार मैं tool सीखता हूँ. अब तुमने font तो बनाया नहीं है, अब तुम tool सीखने जा रहे हो, so you are already facing 2 issues. So that way the motivation goes down, and that's why you need to do the task which is easily doable. It is that eat that frog. You know that you have to do that task. तो बाद में करना चाहिए अभी कर लो. Just do that. Easy, right? So what I did was I just went and I just started building few specific, I think, small fonts, which was I started with Rudra. So I was like, what if I make a by the way, this was made in Adobe Illustrator. So I took that, get into the Figma file, made this with the whole thing and understood the mantra and everything works. So in Devanagari, the thing is, in Latin you have few mantras. By the way, in Latin you also have mantras, which is called. If I try to show you, a science, yes. Alphabet science. Okay. Okay. I think I need to Latin alphabet. You might have already seen these when we see A, but on top of A, yeah, these we see this things right on top of A. Now this is mantra for Latin. Like obviously it's not called mantra, right? But it is Latin font ka mantra wala system, right? So in when you're creating a Latin font, you have to have few space like guidelines niche upar dono jagah, so you can have these mantras, right? You design it with like that. But when I started searching for Devnagari ka mantra font, I was like, how would I create like guidelines for this? So I found out this, which was that you will need 7 guidelines. Okay, which I have made it here. Which was that you need first headline, upper mean line, lower mean line, and base line, mantra है रुकल line. And I know you're like क्या है ये भाई समझाओ तो सही. बता देते हैं, टेंशन की बात नहीं है. We are here for that specific purpose. Let me just go into an example and show you. So upper baseline is where my font starts. अगर मैं का लिख रहा हूँ तो का की जो headline आएगी वो यहाँ से start होगी. Now this mean line is not for like the जब खत्म हो रहा है. Mean line mostly is used जहाँ पे ये जो E है. For example, where the first curve and everything is happening. So if I go back to Pooja wala article, by the way, there are very few good Devanagari type designers who are post content. So thank you so much. Here it is, right? The way it works is, right now Palma you can't see, but when you see ka, right, the curve of the ka comes on the mean line, right? And the lower of the mean line comes for the ma. So for example, when I'm making ka, kha, ga, gha, or whatever the characters like alphabets are, का की टॉप लाइन कहाँ से स्टार्ट होगी? वो अपर मीन लाइन पे होनी चाहिए. वा जो है वो कहाँ एंड होगा? वो लोअर मीन लाइन पे होना चाहिए, राइट? सो दीज आर द स्पेसिफिक गाइडलाइंस के रूल्स जो मेरे को उस टाइम पता चले. बट द थिंग वाज these fonts have the spacing, right? ये बन वैसे रहे कि इनमें बीच में स्पेसिंग है उतनी. लाइक इन योर अपर हेडलाइन मीन लाइन थोड़ा स्पेस है, पर जब मैं बना रहा था, बिकॉज आई वॉज मेकिंग एन एक्सपेंडेड फॉन्ट, राइट, तो उसमें तो स्पेस ही नहीं है. Like it's very near. Like doesn't make sense for me to have a mean line here, right? So I said fuck the guidelines. Let's just make the font first. Just have the top and bottom guideline, ताकि मुझे बस start और end पता चले, and the font or typeface looks cleaner, right? Simple इतना करता. So I started making the whole thing. And the first I did Rudra, so I just wrote his name in this. Figure out अच्छा curve से work करेगा. So the base rule by the way, the base rule I had to creating this font was that I would use a curve, a half curve, a lines only. Custom pen से बनाना ही नहीं है. That is cause I can't draw for like even if my life depend on it. Like बिल्कुल चूतिया की तरह like I draw, right? So I was like let's go tech, let's go mathematic wise. It's better, cleaner, safe रहेगा. So I did that only. अब when you like if you see this right now, this still has issues, right? The spacing इसकी बहुत ज़्यादा है. Upper mean line यहाँ अलग है या बीच में spacing बहुत weird है. This curve is not the perfect curve. And I figured out this shit when I was making the Rudra का नाम लिख रहा था मैं तब, and like this with this I launched on Twitter कि हाँ ये बना रहे हैं. अब बोल दिया मतलब करना तो पड़ेगा, right? That was the whole game of the name. तो ये हो गया. I posted this. Same tried with Chambal also because name वहाँ पे बताना था. I made Ella, and you can see in this one I tried respecting the mean line. So the cha, the ba, and the la all come on the same mean line, upper mean line, right? So I tried. This was after a few days. So धीमे धीमे आप सीख रहे हो. धीमे धीमे you're getting into it. You're learning. You're reading these articles. You're watching these ideas. So you're getting ideas, right? But the rule with self-taught design, which I have, is like let me just talk to you all. Okay. The rule with self-taught design is that instead of overthinking the whole process कि कैसे work करेगा नहीं करेगा, you jump the fuck in it. Like तुम कूद जाते हो, and then you'll try figure out how to swim. वो बात का problem है, right? वो अभी सोचना भी नहीं है. By the way, if you have any questions, if you कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, I'm going fast, comments drop कर देना, वहीं पे I'll keep talking to you all, ठीक है? चलो, so I was doing that. चंबल से mean line का idea आ गया, अच्छा बढ़िया है, चलो let's do this and all that. Start किया, then I did the कलाकार. If you see in the कलाकार, the रा का जो mean line है, वो अभी भी नीचे है. That was cause if I arrange the ra ka mean line to this thing, the ra won't look like ra. So obviously not always you have to figure out guidelines, cause ये होता है. Like now the ra is not looking like ra, right? So guidelines follow karo, like they are good for you, but only till they are good for you. Like वो तुम्हारी, they are there for your betterment, not to just get stuck by it, right? तो यहाँ पे I just went with my visual understanding क्या अच्छा लग रहा है, and I went with this ra, right? तो ये सब हुआ, then I just made the whole font, ये पूरा का पूरा font यहाँ पे, this is how I draw it. We have the same guidelines. If you see, I have never introduced a new element. Everything is by lines and curves. Half curve से ही बन रही है पूरी चीज. And if you don't notice, like I'm trying to just randomly doing the space thing here, right? I'm not perfecting it. I'm not making, like for example, यहाँ पे I tried doing the curve, but वो ता का space नहीं आ रहा था. So you take some liberty, you figure out thing by yourself. तुम करते हो उसके हिसाब से, right? And the dumb me didn't share my screen, did I? Yeah, now I'm back. Sorry for that. कोई बता तो दो stream में क्या? I'm not sharing my screen और बोले जा रहा हूँ तब से मैं. कोई बोल भी नहीं रहा. क्या यार तुम लोग भी. हाँ, so यहाँ, so I just started with this. का ख ग से पूरा start किया. I made the whole ज्ञा तक बन गया. Which are the basic vowels of characters बना दिए, ठीक है. I already have few fonts with me to have as references. Like ये एक font है to see how they look in expandation, like कैसे लगेंगे. ये एक font है which I like a lot हिंदी में, टेको करके. So it's like just to have reference, कैसे work करता है कैसे नहीं करते, right? So already doing that, किसी जा रहा है, सब बढ़िया चल रहा है, and I was like experimenting on that. But then I hit a roadblock, which was that now this font is to made, right? What is the next step? The next step is to make this into a font, right? And how do I do that? I use a design, like a type design tool. So I went on Google, started researching, and I found out that glyph करके एक tool आता है, glyphs करके, जिसमें you can make font. And by the way, Kimya Gandhi has written a good article on it. But तब मुझे बिल्कुल पता नहीं था, तो I was like कुछ पता नहीं था इसके अंदर, बिल्कुल बुद्धू की तरह. So यहाँ पे I saw this tool, I downloaded the tool, I tried the tool, ठीक है, पूरा चेक कर लिया, सब बढ़िया. This was the whole thing. वो पेन हुआ, ये 3 महीने पहले की बात है, ठीक है. अभी मुझे कोई रूल्स पता नहीं, मैंने आर्टिकल पढ़ा भी नहीं, क्योंकि जब ये आर्टिकल मैं पढ़ रहा था तब आई डिडंट नो कि यार ये देवा मांत्रास ये सब क्या होता है, आ मात्रा देवा क्या होता है. आई डिडंट हैव एनी आइडिया, बिकॉज़ टूल समझ में नहीं आ रहा था मुझे, राइट. सो आई जस्ट जंप्ड डायरेक्टली इनटू मेकिंग द फॉन्ट. सो चंबल यहाँ पर स्टॉप हो गया था. लाइक चंबल ये फॉन्ट बनने के बाद, by the way, one problem was that how do I recreate this in the type tool also, like how do I make the same font into tool, right? So वो problem भी आ रहा था. तो what I did was to clean that up, I went into math again. Let's do pixel to pixel. So I started making this whole font by 2 pixels. So if you see, the guidelines is that you have, like, this is not the perfect one, यहाँ पे कहीं perfect one होगी पूरी की पूरी, which is this made, हाँ ये रहा, that the headline was 2 pixel, spacing 1 pixel, again stroke was 2 pixel, again 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 1 pixel. This was the whole game. Like I made it edge to pixel ये रहा, right? कि 1 pixel का spacing होना चाहिए, यहाँ पे 1 pixel तो यहाँ पे 2 pixel, right? So pixel to pixel I went because this way it was easier for me to do math on the type tool, ठीक है. यहाँ बहुत लफड़े किए, I went to the math tool, नहीं हुआ, cause again I was just अंधेरे में तीर मारे थे, right? And the biggest issue or biggest wrong thing I did was, which you should not do, is I started with a font which was already complicated. ये typeface already complicated, उसे expanded है. Already words match नहीं कर रहे हैं, right? A type tool is not designed to make a font like this weird. वो एक simple Latin font सब ने देखा ना, ऐसे font के लिए बना हुआ type tool है, starting में at least, right? Someone who doesn't know, like who's a noob like me, should start with this kind of font. But उस time तो मैं होशियार एकदम बनाने उस mood में थे, right? So I went into this, started building the whole thing. और वो वर्क नहीं किया, आई गॉट डिसअपॉइंटेड. हैपेंस, लाइक दैट शिट हैपेंस. यू ट्राई टू डू समथिंग, नहीं होता है, दिल दुखता है, यू जस्ट ड्रॉप इट. तो चंबल वहाँ ड्रॉप हो गया, राइट. एंड आई वाज लाइक यार अब आई डोंट नो व्हेन आई विल गेट द करेज अगेन टू डू दिस, और क्या करेंगे. 4 महीने निकल चुके हैं, ठीक है. 4 महीने निकल चुके हैं इस पूरी चीज़ को. यहाँ तक पे यू वुड लाइक अभी तक तुम लोग को ये आइडिया आ गया होगा हाउ डज द होल बेस ऑफ द मंत्रास एंड लाइन वर्क्स, ठीक है. ये देवनागरी के लिए है, बट एवरी फॉन्ट लाइक विल गेट इनटू द फॉन्ट टूल. वहाँ पे मैं तुम्हें दिखा दूंगा स्पेसिफिकली हाउ टू मेक इट. समझते हैं लाइक विल दिस लेट मी कंप्लीट दिस स्टोरी, ठीक है. तो अब आते हैं, अब क्या हुआ, ये सब हो गया. 3 महीने निकल गए, 4 महीने निकल गए. लाइक कि अब तो नहीं हो रहा मुझसे, आई एम डन विद दिस शिट, अब नहीं करना है. एंड बट ट्विटर बोल तो दिया था, तो आई हैव टू समहाउ क्लोज दिस. बट वही है कि एज ए डिजाइनर लाइक मोटिवेशन आएगी तब देखेंगे, राइट. एंड देन समथिंग डिड हैपन 3 months आफ्टर चंबल. There's this company called Drip House, which is on Solana, which drops an NFT to you and like pura product, right? And they were launching their Drip India, और वही लॉन्च लोगो यूज कर रहे थे इसके अंदर. If I'm not wrong, if I go to my Twitter, by the way, this is also an example of building in public, right? If you want something, build in public, talk to people, you'll get the idea. Yeah, Drip Bharat. They were launching Drip Bharat, and I saw कि वो लोग अभी भी इंग्लिश लोगो यूज कर रहे हैं. एंड आई वाज लाइक ये क्या बात हुई. इफ यू आर डूइंग दिस होल थिंग, इफ यू आर राइटिंग इन हिंदी बाय द वे, तो फिर हिंदी लोगो चाहिए, राइट. सो आई सेड देम कि हे व्हाट इफ आई मेक अ हिंदी लोगो फॉर यू, राइट. एंड इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, उन्होंने कहीं ना कहीं पोस्ट किया होगा. आई डोंट नो व्हेन दिस हैपेंड दो. ये रहा, इसके पहले का ये रहा. नमस्ते या March 17. So I like, let me make a logo for you, right? And I was like, this is their English logo with this drop and this font. Let's break down this font. Let's break down how do I make a Hindi version of it. So simple idea was that I saw the curves and lines. Everything else was simple, but this whenever they was curving, it has pixelated theme, right? So I was like, you know what? If I want to make something out of this in Hindi, let's do the same thing. I wrote down the drip. By the way, I used here I used Teco as a base font for this. This is the base font for it, and then I made a here it is. Yep, here I made a pixel by pixel theme and made this whole logo. Send them it to them. बढ़िया हो गया. Everything was going good and all on that. ठीक है. यहाँ तक clear है. Like ये थोड़ा पढ़ाई वाला हो रहा है. यहाँ तक clear हो तो just add comments again. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and start and getting into the real thing, which is designing a font. Cool. So यहाँ तक हो गया. This was going good. Everything was like fuck amazing चीज चल रही है and all that, right? Then randomly, I don't know why, 7 days back, I got this कीड़ा कि यार ये फोनो कंप्लीट करते हैं, राइट. आई जस्ट मेक का टू काखा से लेके, बाय द वे समथिंग एल्स आई मेड, ये थोड़ा सा अभी आया नहीं है बाहर, इट विल कम सून. आई वाज लाइक यार काखा से लेके इसको कहीं आगे लेके जाते हैं, लाइक लेट्स डू समथिंग. आई थिंक मेरे कुछ पोस्ट नहीं बचे हुए थे ट्विटर पे पोस्ट करने के, समथिंग वाज देयर, बट अ रैंडम आइडिया केम इनटू माय माइंड, सो आई जस्ट पिक दिस अप and made this version, right, which was by the way, when I recreated this font for ये तो स्टोरी बताई नहीं मैं तुमको बीच वाली ना. ड्रिप वाला हो गया. देन आई डिड अ वेरी फेल्ड अटेम्प्ट ऑफ 36 days of type, ठीक है. उसमें आई tried making this font Kakha wala, right? And I just thought I'll do this somewhere. And I had this much only. I had this ka and ka, which was based on this method. So the very simple rule, we have 10 boxes in height, 10 pixels in height, 10 pixels in width, and I think around 7 or 9 pixels in height. इस पे मुझे फॉन्ट बनाना है पूरा. दिस इज हाउ आई कैन जस्ट, दिस इज माई आउटबोर्ड टू मेक देवरंगी फॉन्ट जो भी बनाना है मुझे, राइट. काखा का जो भी लिखना है. So I picked it up and I just did this. I just made this car and I tried doing this and I kind of got, this is looking like nothing, right? And this I did in public, by the way. I just posted a tweet on Twitter. अगर मैं गलत नहीं हूँ तो I would definitely have a tweet somewhere. I just made this random tweet क्या हाँ ये रहा, yeah. I like I can't figure out what I can use it. So I just did this. I posted this. And then Ashish suggested that, what if you make all this, combine the shape and give a good corner radius. So I was like, let's try that. And did that. तो ये बहुत सेक्सी सा फॉन्ट का वर्जन बन के आया. And I was like, हाँ ये बनाते हैं, right? And like I did also a tweet today when I made the nothing wala version and all that, but उस पे चलते हैं. Right? तो यहाँ तक ये हो गया था. Now I had what kind of font I want. The good thing was this font is a traditional size and font and style. तो उतना complication नहीं होने वाला मेरी life में. Like I didn't have to like get frustrated like Chumble. ठीक है. तो this was the second stage, which was like let's make this font. ये पूरा font बन चुका है. Right? का खगा से लेके, so I have a characters. But the thing was, how do I make this? This is very important, by the way, for everyone who's making font, because generally what font designers do is, typeface designer do is, they just jump into this tool. So I use the tool called Font Lab. Okay, let me open the tool and show you that also. I'm on the trial period right now. I haven't bought it. इसीलिए तो जल्दी लगी हुई थी मुझे ख़त्म करना है फटाफट. Cause फिर 6 दिन बचे मेरे पास trial period के. Right. So where is Pixel Hindi? Yeah. Yeah. This is the typeface design tool. Yeah. I'll come to this part, but let's go. So generally what people do is they just get into this tool and design. If you go to any typeface, ask any designer, they're like, हम उसी में बना लेते हैं. And good for them. But हम को नहीं आता ना वो. So what we'll do is we'll just make everything in Figma. As you know what, less I want to make this into Figma. I already had Ka and Kha with this base. Now I had to expand this to Ga, Ka, Kha and everything. But I was like, अगर मुझे बाद में कुछ चेंज करना हुआ, अगर मैं चीज़ें फिग्मा में बना ही रहा हूँ, तो क्यों ना ये थोड़ा यूनिक किया जाए. Why not make? So what I did was I made 2 different components. One was a blank grid, one was a filled grid, like a filled box. So instead of moving randomly, I just did a grid like this. And whenever I wanted to make something, for example, if I want to make a right line, I'll just go here, make all of these default, and this way I'll draw it like math, right? Like free flowing bhi nahi hai. Even if I'm making this font free flowing, but free flowing nahi hai, right? So I decided doing that. And the benefit of this, in like I'll show you what it was that कि जब मुझे इस पूरे font को, if I have to change this font, for example, I like this font. What if I want to make a version where this can work like nothing font, like nothing का जो font आता है ना? If you have, I don't know if you've seen nothing font. Let me show you that tweet also. So nothing has this dot theme, right? If I want to make this font, I don't want to recreate the whole thing, right? It's a pain. I'll just go here, choose this, make this whole block around it like this, and my whole font is now nothing ka font, like this variation of font. See, this is why I thought of doing components. This gives me so much flexibility of whatever I'm creating. Let's say I want to make a slant, like a very patla font, like this style mein. Here I have that too. Right, so I can experiment a lot. I can change colors. I can change the way the font looks and all that. I can do that. Right, and now this font looks good. थोड़ा पतला हो गया, like see, he's थोड़ा पतला, but I can do this. I can now make this kind of font also, right? So there are so many variations I can do because I made this a component. Right? This is very important, and very important to do this, right? I gotta, let me just Command Z and make this better because I have to recreate this font. I don't want to recreate the whole thing again. Perfect, right? So I made this font. Now the main thing, which is how do I convert this into typeface? अब आता है सही answer. So I made this font, took it to Figma, converted everything again because this was a component. I can just select, converted all of them into a typical vector, downloaded it, and pasted into Adobe Illustrator. The reason being is when I was let me just open pixel font. Yes, here it is. Right. The reason it is here is because Figma, if this is a very unique problem, by the way. In Figma, this individual blocks are still individual blocks. You can move around, you can play around and everything, right? But in Illustrator, they become pure vector. You can't edit it now. It's one single shape. And when I tried, if I try to paste something, for example, let me show you. Let me just pick Ka from here or Kha from here, let's say. Right? I go into this and I go to a font lab. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new font, like new font altogether and show you how this works. By the way, in any font tool now, by the way, we are in font lab, okay? And let me start from start only. Na? Let me start font lab from starting. So this is how you go. You can open a new font. अगर तुम वो भी करते हो, let me just close this whole thing. I go to font lab, right? I open it and इसमें अभी basic जो चीज़ें आएंगी, I'll just show you. But if I'm going too fast, do tell me. Thoda, I know that I have that habit. Let's check some comments also. Hey Mahesh, bro, it's Ecamm. I'm using Ecamm to stream. Yeah. Hey Piyush, bro, Chambal font था ये. Damn, I just opened the font again. But the way you do is you just click on new font. It will open a Latin का whole thing. Like it just open English के लिए बनाया हुआ है, ठीक है. Now, how do you find Devnagari or any other language? What do you do is, instead of any encoding here, you go to Unicode. And in Unicode here, you go and you get all these languages. Where you have Gujarati, where you have Hindi and all that, like Devnagari and everything. Bengali, and you have Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, everything, right? So I select Devnagari. Now in Devnagari, there are these different kind of fonts or glyphs बोलते हैं. So in fonts, these are called glyphs. Different glyphs, right? So ये है basic. This is the whole thing. सारी चीज़ आ गई है. If I just move these are extra tools. इसमें अभी नहीं घुसूंगा मैं. I'll show you these when we either do the second stream when I make this in front, like a full video of it. But अभी के लिए this is what you get. Now the way this works, this is a farmer, right? Like this farmer नहीं बोलते हैं कि बस इस पे अब जाओ, जो चीज़ें जहाँ लिखी हो वहाँ पेस्ट कर दो and you will have a font. Like this is the idea I had in my mind कि हाँ मुझे font बनाना है. ये मिल गया बेस. अब इसमें वैसे मुझे का पेस्ट करना है, तो यहाँ का है, ये रहा का भाई, परफेक्ट, ये रहा का. ये का में जाऊँगा, यहाँ का दिख रहा है. I'll go to Adobe Illustrator. मैंने का तो बना के लेके आया हूँ मैं, राइट. कमांड सी करूँगा यहाँ से, फॉन्ट लैब में जाऊँगा, कमांड भी करूँगा. दिस इज समथिंग इज डू राउंड इट. डजंट मेक सेंस. ये आ गया परफेक्ट. अब यार पर ये तो ये स्पेसिंग क्यों आ रही है, ये 0 क्या है, ये 140 क्या है, ये 720 क्या है, नहीं पता. बट माई फर्स्ट स्टेप वॉज लेट्स जस्ट पेस्ट एवरी फॉन्ट विच आई मेड, राइट. सो का पे का पेस्ट कर दिया, खा पे गए, खा कॉपी किया, खा पेस्ट कर दिया, गा कॉपी किया, गा पे गा पेस्ट कर दिया, 3 वर्ड पे पेस्ट कर दिया, राइट. But when I so now they're like, obviously I know the tool, so I know, but you can test out the fonts like how they look, right? तो उसके लिए you just have to press this font, ये वाला, ये जो tool है, you have to choose this tool. So what it does, it shows you in pixel preview बोलते हैं इसको. It is showing you in perfect sense, right? तो ऊपर गा लिखा हुआ है. What if I write down kakaga? फिर क्या होता है? Let's write down kakaga. So हमने kakaga पेस्ट किया है अभी, ठीक है. And if I write down kakaga, आ तो रहा है, but spacing बहुत weird. Let me just decrease the font. This is how I'm seeing it, and I don't understand कि spacing इतनी weird क्यों है. So what do? I go and search for English or Latin alphabet का tutorial on YouTube, and I found out that, let me go back to ka. Right. This is a pain, by the way. This can tell you that I still don't know how to perfectly use this tool. What do you learn, right? So I was like, I figured out that okay, yaar, ye jo beech ka pixel, this is the width of this font. And if you remember, I told you that I made this font in Figma, so I know exactly kitna pixel ka font hai ye. So I went to my Figma file, checked pixel font, the final one jahan convert kiya tha maine, selected it, and it was showing this random thing, but I used pixels in it, right? If you know, I used one block, so I counted. If this was 10 pixel, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 19, 100. So this is 1000 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 900. So 10 by 9 का ratio चल रहा है. So whatever I make, I have to have a 10 by 9 का ratio, right? So what I did was, I just made everything 0. So this is now 0. And I got 630. Now you might be like, कैसे work कर रहे हैं? So what it is doing is, so if you know, this was 9 pixels, right? And in this system, in this font, is taking 70 as one box of that pixel. So for me, I was counting as 10 pixel. For this system, it's counting as 70 pixel, right? I have the basic math in my mind कि हाँ fuck amazing हो गया. Now I know कि font की width क्या होनी चाहिए और height क्या होनी चाहिए, clarity आ गई. अब then I was like ये तो हो गया, but what the fuck is these two zeros, right? Let me show you what they are. So when you are making a font, if you use kerning, right? And how do you do kerning? You add space around it. But because ये देवनागरी font है, इसमें ये lines connect होती हैं. So you don't want to add space here, or if you want to add space, you want to make sure that all of them are connected or expanded, right? So I'll make 0, 0, 0. अब ये font connect होगा, right? So if I write kakaga, like which I did like last time, right? If I just paste it here, you will see the spacing now is there is comma. मैं comma हटा दूँ तो ये perfect एकदम ही पास में आ रहा है, right? अब ये तो pain है. Let me show you another example of how this will be a pain. So if I go to ma and paste ma in this, okay, let me use it. Let me use, where's the ma? Here's the ma. By the way, if I'm like again, as I'm saying, I know I have collected all this information from the last 2-3 weeks or so pehle bhi, right? So if I'm going too fast, do let me know. मेरे माइंड में आई माइट थिंक ये तो ईजी समझ जाएंगे लोग, पर शायद ना हो, ठीक है? तो डू लेट मी नो. So if I just go and make the padding, like let's just call it padding right now, padding a kerning 0, which is going edge to edge. Let's do the same thing for ma also, right? This is minus में, अपने we'll just make it 0, 0. 630, perfect. If I go to la, is that also 630? Perfect, right? We have a perfect on the pixel thing. Now let me just go to Google and search Kamal in Hindi, right? Kamal nahi, Kamal, yeah, Kamal, here it is, right? So this is Kamal. Now in my system, in my Devnagari, like this typeface, I have already added ka, ma and la, right? So when I type Kamal, it should show me Kamal. See? Let me make this thoda sa chota font. Yeah, now you can see. The font is ready. The font is here. Now I just paste all the characters, so ban jayega, right? But nahi, that's not how it works. You will see the pain is with Devanagari fonts, there are mantras, right? Now I want to write Kamala. How do I write Kamala? Whether there are some bugs here, इस पे हम बाद में बात करते हैं. How do I write Kamala, right? So my first thought was, let's go and see if there's anything available. So I saw this mantra wala pura thing. Yeah, here I see Aki mantra, right? So I went there. I went to my Illustrator file. ये रही mantra Aki जो मैंने बना रखी थी already. But with this I made, if you see in Figma, I made I and all that, like the whole thing, right? If you go, and then I also made ka ki and all that. So I can pick it from here, right? ये बना लिया था मैंने. So by the way क्या है? ये by the way font पे ही है. If I made the font, तो अभी font तो सही है ये रहा. Okay, not इतना भी सही नहीं है, but we'll come to that part. हाँ, यहाँ पे आके मैंने ये paste कर दिया. Again 0, 0. I don't want extra padding around it. And if I round Kamla here, right, let's just go and write Kamla and see what happens. I know ये थोड़ा सा बड़ा टॉपिक है, थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड टॉपिक है, थोड़ा समझने में देर लग रही होगी, which again if you don't getting the idea of it, I totally understand, ठीक है? थोड़ा टाइम लगता है इसमें. Now I see one problem. This spacing is too much, right? How do I sort this? So remember the padding we had? वो तुम यहाँ से sort कर सकते हो with this. I just had to drag this near. मतलब ये इसकी spacing करें, not with this, by the way. So I go to 0. I make it minus 25 from here. And minus 25 from here. और अब थोड़ा सही लगा. Now the Kamala looks much better. Now, but if the thing is, if I even write some word, if I write Kamal, this will still works. Because मैंने आकी मात्रा डाल दिया, कम और ला डाल दिया, right? Now the font is here. It's there. अब ये हो गया basic word वाला, right? So if I want to write Rahul, I can do Ra, Ha, and La, right? Let me go to my font which I already have made and show you variation from there. Pixel Hindi is the name, and yeah, here it is. Now if I want to write Rahul, right? How would I write Rahul? Let me just first of all go and search Rahul in Hindi. Yeah, right. What I would need is this mantra, right? So that means I have to add mantras in the system. Again, I have made the whole mantras here. I just copy pasted them and took them to Font Lab ka system. Yahan pe again they have this pharma for where you can just put era, right? But there's one big pain. How do you arrange this mantra to a symbol? इसको कैसे मालूम चलेगा मुझे कहाँ आना है? For example, when I add this here, right? You right now see, this is not perfect. The mantra is going very away from who, right? This should be here, right? It should be center of the ha. So in fonts, which like this was the main thing which I found which solved the whole pain of for me, was finding actions. Okay. Again, until you work on this, you won't get an idea. कोई बात नहीं है. My DMs are open always. Just ping me. Will give you better ideas on this. But the way it works was there was something called action which would link one mantra to one vowel, right? और वो कैसे करता था? I'll tell you. अगर हम हाँ पे चलते हैं, हाँ पे if you see there's this pointer, right, which is saying bottom. So this means this is the starting point. Then I'll go to a mantra and add a top part which I'll call underscore bottom. Now these two are linked, right? So whenever I write something like this, this connects with this. Now you want to be like, हाँ ठीक है ये तो simple है. Even if you don't add actions, mantra automatic आ जानी चाहिए ना. क्या ज़रूरत है custom वो action या connection set करने की? The thing is, if you know Devnagari, you would know कि का में mantra यहाँ आती है. ए आओ की मात्रा ऊपर आती है, ऊ औ की मात्रा नीचे आती है सेंटर पे, पर गा और खा इन सब जगह पे कॉर्नर पे आती है. So these action would help me do that. See, this is where the benefit of that character is. Now this should not happen. हा पे मात्रा ऐसी आनी नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि हा पे ऑलरेडी सेट है mantra. So the who should be inside. Why the okay? So there's some bug with this thing. Let's see. Perfect line to hai. Is there something about pixel kya? So again, this can happen with you where you just start doing it like a क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, pain होता है, which might be that okay this is too much spacing. I move it and check if something changes or not. Again, this is a trial and experiment. मेरे लिए पूरा का पूरा trial experiment चल रहा है जिंदगी. Let's go to Rahul. Yeah, much nicer. See, now solved. Just a second, no. I'm gonna reply to some DMs. Yeah, sorry. So अब sort हो गया, right? So this mantra thing was solved. यहाँ पर this is how the font thing is done. Now I can just go and if I want to write something here, I can just write it and check कि ये work कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है. For example, Rahul का मतलब और Rashi, right? Just copy this, go here, paste it, and see how it works. If I decrease the font, see, whether this is a problem of Illustrator and everything where you write ई की मात्रा आगे वाली पीछे लग जाती है, वो उतना पेन नहीं है. But if you notice, there's one pain which, as a starter designer or like, cause I jumped into it, I didn't notice. But the spacing is very weird. और अभी टूल का इशू नहीं है, by the way. हाँ, this is not an issue of a tool. क्योंकि आ की मात्रा पे डबल स्पेसिंग आ रही है, ला की मात्रा पे एक ही आ रही है, रा की मात्रा पे दो ही आ रही है. ये हाइट रा की कम है, ये हा की ज़्यादा है. ये सब इश्यूज इस टूल के नहीं है, ये सब इश्यूज है मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ हाउ देवनागरी टाइपफेस आर डिजाइन, राइट? क्योंकि सब फिगर आउट कर रहे हैं ना, अभी तो पता ही नहीं है सब चीज़ें, अभी तो सब देख ही रहे हैं चीज़ें, राइट? अभी तो यू जस्ट गेटिंग इनटू दिस, ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड कैसे वर्क कर रहा है, करेक्ट? सो देन आई वेंट अगेन इनटू दिस होल सिस्टम, trying to understand how does this thing whole works. right? So the easiest way and the best way of doing this is reading this and understanding what is shoulder height, what is this and that. So मैंने क्या किया, I went to fonts.google and I downloaded, for example, let's say Teco fonts जो दिखा था मैंने starting में, right? I opened a Teco Hindi वाला version in this font tool to check what is something which I am doing wrong और ये लोग क्या सही कर रहे हैं, right? Because again, see, this I can't stress it like as I don't know how to put this much focus on it, but जब तुम खुद सीख रहे होगे ना as a designer, you won't have pre-designed processes, ठीक है? तुम मिस करोगे चीज़ों को, but it's fine. That's how you learn. Like that's you experiment and learn and you find some things. Or this is why you can't write an article on it because तुम्हें खुद पता नहीं कैसे कर रहे हो तुम, right? But it's good. It's fine. You are doing it by yourself, right? So you figure out by together. So I went into this font and tried to see कि मैंने क्या गलत किया, इन्होंने क्या सही किया, right? So for example, I saw that खा जो था इनका spacing, मेरी खा like when I'm writing, let me open here, right? So मेरा जो ला आ रहा है यार ये ता से टच करे जा रहा है, right? तो ता और ला मेरी और उनके में फ़र्क क्या है, right? So I went to their ता जो मुझे ता दिख नहीं रहा है, ये रहा. So I saw that उन्होंने जो मार्जिन रखी थी वो माइनस में रखी हुई थी and they had space in front of like the actual font जब डिज़ाइन किया ना उन्होंने तब भी उन्होंने स्पेस रखी हुई है और अपने ने तो वो किया नहीं था. अपना जो था वो तो था ऑटोमेटिक हमने पूरा एच टू एच डिज़ाइन लाइक डिज़ाइन दिस वे, राइट? ये पूरा मैंने बना तो दिया था. अच्छा बाय द वे इशू चाहिए ला का इशू, ला को मैंने स्पेसिंग ला में इशू ता परफेक्ट है, ता में स्पेसिंग है, बट ता को मैंने माइनस वो दे रखा था. अब ठीक है 20 का स्पेसिंग दे दिया, बट ये मुझे एक्सप्लेन करना था. तो मेरा फॉन्ट अभी भी परफेक्शन नहीं हुआ है, बस अब ये ला अच्छा ही लग रहा है, स्पेसिंग वियर्ड हो गई है, राइट? सो दिस इज़ द इशू जब तुम फॉन्ट बना रहे हो. तो now I hope जब तुम लोग बनाओगे font, when you will make this typeface, you will keep these pointers in mind and make it much better, right? Make it in Figma. Follow these basic rules of like do this thing. First go to Google, like go to Devnagari, download any font which resembles the font type of font you want to make and see how they are making it, and open in the existing design tool to check how they're spacing it. Spacing is the biggest pain in Devanagari font. Because English में kerning easy रहती है. Because two words are not connecting, right? वहाँ half words नहीं आ रहे हैं. वहाँ पे तुम नहीं लिख रहे हो एक word के ऊपर एक word, like you are not writing words like this, right? English में you're not doing that, so it's easier. But यहाँ पे वो pain आएगा, right? So that's why you whenever you do the spacing. For example, I figure that they are doing -20 का spacing, हर जगह -20 कर रहे हैं वो लोग. Right? This is how they are. Let me for one more hour, yeah. They are doing it everywhere. ये mantra यहाँ से लगा रहे हैं and all that. So मुझे पता ही like I didn't had idea, right? So उनके सब mantra अलग अलग जगह जा रही हैं क्योंकि उन्होंने जब mantra की वो की है spacing की है. If I go to the top mantras which they are using, उन्होंने ऐसे side में attach किया हुआ है, right? So इस वजह से now I know. So next version जब बनेगा तो better बनेगा इससे. But ये हो गया है. And now comes the second pain point, which is कि ये सब तो बन गया. अब नाउ इफ आई गो टू माई फॉन्ट्स जो मैंने बनाए हुए हैं उसमें स्पेसिंग फकअप है. वो तो बैड है ही, लाइक दैट आई कैंट डिनाई, बट चीज़ें लिख सकता हूँ मैं. इफ हैव टू राइट क्या हाल है, राइट, और राइट व्यक्ति तो नहीं लिख पाऊँगा, यदि कोई हो तानाशाही, आई डोंट नो व्हाट दैट इज, बट अगर ये लिखना हो मुझे तो मैं लिख लूँगा. बट द ओनली इशू इज स्पेसिंग वियर्ड रहेगी, तो फिर वो मुझे ठीक करनी पड़ेगी. आई हैव टू डू दैट इन फिग्मा बाय माई सेल्फ, राइट? मानव परिवार के सभी, let's say मानव परिवार, let's say right, I can do that. बढ़िया से हो जाएगा. मानव अच्छा लग रहा है, परिवार अच्छा लग रहा है, but I have to do the spacing by myself. थोड़ा पेन है, but it is what it is, right? You can't like you. This is how you figure out. As a self designer, you have this thing when you go and like get the idea of, right? So hopefully this helped you get some grasping of like how the font thing works. And I will just go through comments and see if this helped someone or not, and if like they have get comments or not. But crazy, yeah. Hey Suyam sir, hey Atul, hey, hi Naklicha, how are you? Hey Alan, how's going on? Hey Utkarsh, Mahesh sir, I'm using Ecamm to stream. That's a tab. Cool. uh yeah, this was a basic, I think, a intro in Devnagari, like a font typeface design. थोड़ा boring, थोड़ा सा theory based ज़्यादा था, but the fun thing is this time we just understood the whole thing. Hopefully in the next stream, which I'm doing on next Thursday, we'll make this font live. Like we'll just pick a font, we'll make it. Obviously एक घंटे में पूरा font तो नहीं बन पाएगा, because मेरे को आधे rule नहीं पता, I'm learning and all going that direction. But the benefit is that we'll learn together, and hopefully this whole learning will be useful for you too, right? So keep watching. I'll catch you in the next stream. If you have any suggestion on the stream and videos, drop कर दो, ठीक है? And yeah, that's it. I'll see you folks in the next stream. Uh, I'll keep this one short, थोड़ा heavy हो गया, right? So I want you to just go through this, थोड़ा absorb it, and I'll see you in the next stream.